A freezing wind howled through the tiny auto shop on the outskirts of Edmonton, Alberta. The garage door creaked on its hinges, and the cold seeped into every corner. Inside, hands stained with grease and heart heavy with worry, Raymond Harris wiped his brow and leaned over the hood of a rusted-out pickup truck. He was a mechanic, but more than that, he was a father, a widower, and a man clinging to the last thread of hope. Christmas was a week away, and he had nothing to give his 10-year-old daughter Emma. His savings were gone, the bills were piling up, and the garage he inherited from his father, once a proud community staple, was slowly crumbling beneath debt and broken dreams. Raymond had poured every ounce of his strength into keeping it afloat, but the world seemed to move faster than he could fix. That morning, just as he considered closing the shop for good, a woman in a sleek silver SUV pulled up. She looked out of place against the cracked pavement and rusty cars. Her name was Claire, mid-30s, professional, exhausted. She explained that her vehicle had broken down on the way to Calgary for a business pitch that could make or break her career. "I know it's last minute," she said, her voice tight with stress, "but I'll pay whatever it takes. Please, can you help?" Raymond wanted to say no. The job looked complicated. He hadn't had a decent night's sleep in days, and his hands ached with arthritis. But then he glanced at the small drawing Emma had taped to the wall behind the counter. A picture of the two of them beside a Christmas tree, under the words, "You're my hero, Daddy." He nodded. "I'll take care of it." For the next 6 hours, Raymond worked in the biting cold, only pausing to check on Emma, who quietly sat in the office with her homework. His fingers froze around the metal tools, and more than once he had to steady himself from the dizziness of skipping lunch. But piece by piece, he brought the engine back to life. Claire watched from inside the office, growing more curious about the man behind the oil-stained gloves and tired eyes. She asked Emma if they always stayed this late, and Emma, cheerful and proud, told her, "Daddy says when you care about something, you don't quit on it, even when it's hard." Something about those words struck Claire deeply. She'd come from a world of boardrooms and deadlines, where people were easily replaced and kindness was scarce. Watching Raymond fight through exhaustion to help a stranger reminded her of something she'd forgotten: human decency. When Raymond finally turned the ignition and the SUV roared to life, he smiled for the first time that day. Claire came out, stunned. "You did it," she said softly. Raymond nodded, wiping his hands on a rag. "Just needed someone to believe it could still work." She handed him her business card along with a check, far more than he'd ever charged. He hesitated. "I can't take this much." "It's not just for the car," she replied. "It's for showing me something I forgot mattered." A week later, on Christmas morning, a delivery truck pulled up to the garage. Boxes of new tools, branded uniforms, fresh signage, and a note from Claire. "You fixed more than my engine. You reminded me of integrity. I told my company about you. Merry Christmas, Raymond. Let's talk about a partnership." Tears welled in his eyes as Emma tugged at his sleeve. "Does this mean the garage is saved?" He knelt down and hugged her tightly. "It means we have a future, sweetheart." That final repair, done in the dark, cold silence of a dying garage, had changed everything. Not just for the car, not just for Claire, but for a man who never stopped believing that doing the right thing, even when no one's watching, still matters. And in that belief, he found the miracle he never saw coming.